At this point, on Thursday last week, the Central Bank of Nigeria and the Bankers Committee introduced the RT200 FX program targeted at increasing the non-oil foreign exchange earnings of the country over the next 3 to 5 years, using a set of policies. Speaking at the end of the first Bankers Committee meeting for 2022, the Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, stressed the need for the country to reduce its reliance on oil proceeds for its foreign exchange needs. Emmanuel Aldu was there and now brings us those details. I'll see you all again tomorrow. Be the best you can be and be that change that you want to see. Bye now.
Determined to address inadequate foreign exchange supply in the economy, the Central Bank of Nigeria announced an initiative named Raise to $200 billion in FX Repartriation program to stimulate non-oil exports with a $200 billion FX income target in the next 3 to 5 years. The CBN Governor, Godwin Emefiele, who made the announcement at the end of the Bankers Committee meeting in Abuja, said the bank has witnessed the ever-changing fortune of oil exporting countries, stressing that to avoid abrupt change in the economy, there must be a concrete tactics that will allow the country to earn more consistently and long-term foreign exchange inflows. He added that the country will need to follow the best practices of other countries and ensure that it protects itself a little bit from factors that are beyond its immediate control. Emefiele revealed that after careful consideration of the available options and wide consultation with the Banking Committee, the CBN is announcing the Bankers Committee RT200 FX program, which stands for the raise of $200 billion in FX repatriation.
As regards the foreign exchange markets, for example, on the inadequacy of FX supply and constant pressure on the exchange rate, we believe that the lessons we have learned from our policies on remittances can be applied in improving some aspects of our FX inflow into the country. As we know, there are 4 major sources of FX inflow into Nigeria. These are 1. Proceeds from crude oil exports. 2. Proceeds from non-oil exports. 3. Diaspora remittances. And 4. Foreign direct or portfolio investments. As I've explained above, all these sources were adversely affected by COVID-19. In addition, most of them are unreliable sources that are perennially prone to exogenous vicissitudes of global economic development. For example, we have all been witnesses to the ever-changing fortunes of oil exporting countries. Even those that have been reputed to manage their oil proceeds well also suffer from major shocks once oil prices plummet. In order to avoid these sudden adjustments to our economic life, we need to focus as a nation on strategies that can help us earn more stable and sustainable foreign exchange inflows into our country. We would need to follow the best practices of other countries and ensure that we protect ourselves a little bit from factors that are beyond our controls. After a careful consideration of the available options and a wide consultation with the banking community, the CBN is effective immediately announcing the Bankers Committee's RT200 FX program, which stands for the Raise to $200 billion in FX repatriation into Nigeria. The RT200 FX program is a set of policies, plans, and programs for non-oil exports that will enable us attain a lofty yet attainable goal of $200 billion in FX repatriation exclusively from non-oil exports over the next 3 to 5 years. And we are optimistic that this can be achieved. The RT200 program will have the following 5 key anchors. 1. Value-adding export facility. 2. Non-oil commodities expansion facility. 3. Non-oil FX rebate scheme. 4. Dedicated non-oil export terminal. And 5. Biannual non-oil export summit. Let me briefly describe each of these anchors. The value-adding export facility will provide concessionary and long-term funding for business people who are interested in expanding existing plants or building brand new ones for the sole purpose of adding significant value to our non-oil commodities before exporting same abroad.
Under the program, the CBN says it's working with bank and interested state government to fund the construction and dedicated of non-oil export terminals to eliminate the delays currently experienced by exporters, stressing that it will also provide loans to companies for value addition and production of finished goods for export at 5% for a 10-year-hold period with 2 years of moratorium. As part of the key features of the program, the CBN governor says the program includes non-oil commodity expansion facilities, non-oil FX rebate scheme, and biannual non-oil export summit.
In recognition of the perennial problems of port congestion cited by the exporters as a major impediment to improved operations and foreign exchange earnings, we have designed a third anchor of the RT200 program, which is the construction and establishment of a dedicated non-oil export terminal. According to the African Center for Supply Chain Practitioners, Nigeria loses about $14.2 billion annually due to congestion at our ports. Paraphrasing from an article by the Financial Times in December 2020, the congestion has become so bad that while it costs $3,500 to ship a 40-feet container from China to Lagos, which is a distance of 22,000 kilometers, it costs $4,000 to move the same container from the port to mainland Lagos, a distance of only 12 kilometers. During our stakeholder engagements with the various segments of exporters, we heard several heartbreaking accounts of how containers spend several months in the ports just waiting to be shipped, resulting in loss of perishable goods or well-established foreign customers. If we are to reach our goal, if we are to attain our goal of $200 billion in non-oil exports, then we can neither ignore nor wish away this problem. We must confront it head-on and provide a solution. That is the reason we are today throwing a challenge to all state governments that have existing ports and are willing to partner with the Bankers Committee to establish not only a dedicated export terminal, but also the entire ecosystem of a world-class infrastructure needed for non-oil exports out of Nigeria. Over the next 3 months, Bankers Committee will be collecting and analyzing detailed proposals from interested state governments in order to decide which one we could partner with. The Bankers Committee will be arranging a significant part of the financing that will be needed for this port, while the selected state governments will have responsibilities that will be spelled out in due course. What we're saying here, we will be approaching state governors that have port facilities or want to build port facilities, because we are determined to set up dedicated export terminals in the country. Yes, seaport, and also we're also aware that some dedicated airport terminals are also being built. We would like to partner with them, but we are not going to limit it to just one. We would like to see those terminals compete with themselves. So we are looking at not less than about two or so, or 3, so that they can compete, because we must ensure zero tolerance for export of items out of the country, whether they are perishable or non-perishable. We believe that this dedicated port will be capable of creating over 100,000 direct and indirect jobs and will provide a huge boost to our quest for significant improvement in non-oil export earnings in Nigeria. Let me emphasize that under this arrangement, loans to companies wishing to expand or build new plants that will generate verifiable export proceeds for the economy shall remain at 5% per annum for 10 years loan, inclusive of 2 years moratorium. In recognition of the lessons we have learned from our rounds of consultation with non-oil exporters, we believe that a more formal, predetermined, and regular forum will be necessary to discuss the issues, challenges, and opportunities in this segment of the economy. That is the reason today we are announcing the introduction of a biannual non-oil export summit, the first of which will be organized during the first week of April 2022. This summit will bring together all the relevant stakeholders in the export business, including bankers, customs officials, Nigerian Ports Authority, the Nigerian Export Promotion Council, clearing agents, cargo airlines, shipping lines, logistic companies, insurance practitioners, and etc. This gathering will be one where for every complaint, problem or issue, challenge or difficulty that is presented or identified, there will be one or several agencies or practitioners that can articulate options for solving these problems. We believe that the ideas harnessed from such summits will be invaluable in helping us attain our ultimate goal of $200 billion in non-oil exports over the next 3 to 5 years.
Emefiele also said the value-adding export facility will provide a concessionary and long-term funding for business people who are interested in expanding their existing plants or building brand new ones for the sole purpose of adding significant value to the non-oil commodities before exporting them. This, according to him, is important because the export of primary unprocessed commodities do not yield much in the foreign exchange.
We believe that this dedicated port will be capable of creating over 100,000 direct and indirect jobs and will provide a huge boost to our quest for significant improvement in non-oil export earnings in Nigeria. Let me emphasize that under this arrangement, loans to companies wishing to expand or build new plants that will generate verifiable export proceeds for the economy shall remain at 5% per annum for 10 years loan, inclusive of 2 years moratorium.
According to data, Nigeria produced about 770,000 metric tons of sesame, cashew, and cocoa. Of this number, about 12,000 metric tons are consumed locally, while 758,000 metric tons are exported. Unfortunately, out of the 758 metric tons that is exported annually, only 16.8% is processed. For example, the global chocolate industry is valued at about $130 billion. Of this amount, Cote d'Ivoire, Ghana, and Nigeria account for more than 72% of global cocoa exports. Yet, because Nigeria mainly exports raw cocoa beans, Cote d'Ivoire gets $3.6 billion annually, while Ghana generates $1.9 billion annually, and Nigeria gets about $804 million per year from an industry that is worth over $130 billion.
This is important because the export of primary unprocessed commodities does not yield much in foreign exchange. In Nigeria today, we produce about 770,000 metric tons of sesame seed, cashew, and cocoa. Of this number, about 12,000 metric tons are consumed locally and 758,000 metric tons are exported. The unfortunate thing, though, is that out of the 758,000 metric tons that are exported annually, only 16.8% is processed. The rest are exported as raw sesame, raw cashew, and raw cocoa, thereby giving Nigerian farmers an infinitesimal part of the value chain in these products. For example, the global chocolate industry is valued at about $130 billion. Of this amount, Cote d'Ivoire, Ghana, and Nigeria account for more than 72% of global cocoa exports. Yet, because we mainly export raw cocoa beans, Cote d'Ivoire gets or earns $3.6 billion annually. Ghana generates $1.9 billion annually, and Nigeria generates about $800 million annually from an industry that is worth over $130 billion.